Discover the miraculous revelation of Rachel and Leah, shocking truth fulfilled in God's plan. In the days of old, as Jacob fled from the wrath of his brother Esau, he ventured into the land of Haran, a terrain rich with ancient whispers and the pulse of family legacy. Under the bright blue skies, he arrived at the well amidst the flock of Laban, his mother's brother, where destiny awaited his footsteps, entangled with both promise and rivalry. Upon his arrival, Jacob encountered Rachel, the younger daughter of Laban. Her beauty sparkled like the morning sun reflecting on the waters, igniting within him an ardent love and desire for companionship that stirred his soul. For 7 years, Jacob labored under the watchful eyes of Laban, every muscle and bone thrust into toil, his heart beat only for Rachel. The years melted away like shadows, each moment echoing with hopes and dreams wrapped around her grace, yet, unbeknownst to Jacob, in the depths of Laban's household, a web of deceit thickened, spun by the devious intentions of his uncle. The day arrived for Jacob's long-awaited wedding, and as the veil cast over Rachel's face, a glimmer of divine promise hung in the air. But come morning's light, as the sun pierced the horizon, it was Leah, the elder sister, he found in his bed. Bewildered, Jacob's heart sank under the weight of Laban's trickery. Leah, with her gentle spirit, was marked by a profound yearning to be loved, while Rachel remained the object of Jacob's affections. Leah bore son after son: Reuben, Simeon, Levi, and Judah, each name steeped in her desire for Jacob's love, which remained elusive. "Surely now my husband will love me," she whispered with each birth, pouring her hopes into the names she chose. Her heart, though blessed with children, ached with sorrow, dreams unfulfilled and affection denied. Meanwhile, Rachel's hands were empty, her womb yet to deliver the promised joy of motherhood. Driven by jealousy, despair gnawed at her heart as she witnessed Leah's abundant family. In a desperate bid to find her place among the covenant, Rachel offered Bilhah, her maid, to Jacob, proclaiming, "Have children upon my knees." Through this act born of anguish, Dan and Naphtali entered the world, children of strife and ambition, reminders of an unresolved bond simmering between sisters. As the days lengthened, Leah's prayers echoed fervently before the Lord, intensifying with each gain yet fraught with longing. The discord between the sisters thickened, as Rachel's heart, though envious, craved what only humble Leah seemed to have: family and love washed in Jacob's attention. Yet, God remained present in their turmoil, and his providence was about to unfold in unforeseen ways. Before we continue with this incredible biblical account, I want to make sure you don't miss any of these powerful scripture stories. Click the bell icon and select all notifications. These biblical narratives have transformed countless lives throughout history. If God's word through this story is blessing you, please like and share with someone who needs to hear about God's faithfulness today. Tell me in the comments, which biblical story has most impacted your faith journey? I'm always amazed how God's word speaks to hearts across generations. Now let's continue with what the Lord did next. Finally, in the brilliant thread of divine grace, Rachel's years of pleading bore fruit. She conceived, and joy erupted in her heart as she gave birth to Joseph, a sign of hopes renewed and the beginning of healing within their fractured lives. This child represented more than joy, he personified a turning point in God's promise, casting light amongst the hidden shadows of jealousy and rivalry. As we linger in this ancestral space, the question hangs heavy in the air: how will God continue to weave these fractured narratives? The tapestry of their lives carries a divine inscription, promising restoration in the midst of struggle. As the sun sets over Haran, the hearts of Rachel and Leah tread softly upon the path toward reconciliation, and the seeds of something miraculous await to bloom in God's perfect time. And after Rachel bore Joseph, she said, "God has taken away my reproach," for she prayed fervently, and the Lord had heard her cries. Yet the struggle between Rachel and Leah wore on, burdens deepening and hearts heavy with unspoken words. The quiet tension lay heavy in the tent as Rachel yearned for reassurance, while Leah felt the weight of her own desire for Jacob's affection clouding her joy. And it came to pass, as the years rolled on, that Jacob spoke unto Laban, saying, "Give me my wives and my children, for my service unto you is complete. I will go back to my own land." Laban's heart quaked within him at the thought of losing Jacob, for he knew that the Lord had blessed him greatly because of Jacob's presence. He pleaded, "If I have found favor in your eyes, please stay, I have learned by divination that the Lord has blessed me because of you." In a cunning scheme, Laban proposed, "Name your wages, and I will give it." Jacob, wise in the matters of livestock, replied, "I will pass through all your flock today, and I will remove from it every speckled and spotted sheep and every dark lamb. This shall be my wages." Thus, a pact was made, and Jacob tended to Laban's flocks with diligence, trusting in God's favor. In the quiet of the long days, Jacob set branches of fresh poplar and almond trees in front of the watering troughs, and as the flocks came to drink, they conceived. And behold, the cattle bore young that were spotted, speckled, and dark, favor shining upon Jacob's efforts, while Laban's flocks diminished. With each birth, the heart of Jacob soared, and Rachel's eyes were filled with wonder, as she beheld the work of the Lord that unfolded before her. But Leah, too, was not without a continued desire for love, nor was her heart quiet in the night. In the somber hours, she turned her heart to God, praying and asking him to look upon her misery. And the Lord saw that Leah was unloved and opened her womb once more. She bore a fifth son, and she named him Issachar, for she said, "God has rewarded me for giving my maid to my husband." And again, she bore a sixth son, and named him Zebulun, declaring, "Now my husband will dwell with me, for I have borne him 6 sons. Still, the ache for Jacob's love lingered in the air, transforming their family tent into a battleground of hope and longing. Each birth brought blessings, yet the heartache remained, for Rachel, though joyful at the gift of Joseph, could not shake the envy that continued to rise within her. In a moment of desperation, she said to Jacob, "Give me children, or I shall die." Her impassioned plea echoed through the tent, reverberating with unchecked emotion and sorrow. Jacob's heart filled with anger, and he replied, "Am I in the place of God, who has withheld you from bearing children?" And so, the conflict deepened, and the inextricable ties of love and rivalry continued to twist amongst their lives. However, the hand of God was at work, orchestrating a grand design unbeknownst to them. As days turned into years, the Lord's plan held fast. And in the foreboding shadows of rivalry and ambition, a greater promise awaited, a promise not just for Rachel and Leah, but for an entire nation yet to come through the lineage of Jacob. The story was far from over, and the greater tapestry of God's design loomed on the horizon, waiting to unfold. But what awaited Jacob and his wives in the land of Canaan was beyond their comprehension, for God's purpose was interwoven in their conflicts, weaving a destiny that would echo through generations, calling forth the fulfillment of his covenant promise. And it came to pass, as Jacob prepared to depart from Laban's house, that he gathered his family and the flocks he had obtained. The time had come for him to return to the land of his fathers, to the place where the promise of the Lord had first been spoken unto him. Yet even as he contemplated the journey ahead, the shadows of rivalry and longing weighed heavily upon Rachel and Leah. One night, as the stars filled the sky like scattered jewels, Rachel turned to Jacob, her heart burdened with the weight of her sister's fruitfulness. In her anguish, she said, "O Jacob, my heart is troubled. My sister is blessed with many children, and I, though I have one, am still cast aside in my own family. What will become of me when we return to our home?" Jacob, seeing the turmoil within her spirit, responded gently, "My beloved Rachel, the Lord knows your pain. He hears your cries and sees your heart's desire. He is the one who opens and closes the womb." Rachel was silent, her eyes searching the heavens as if seeking divine assurance. Yet soon, the ache of her longing became unbearable, and she resolved to take matters into her own hands. She offered her maid, Bilhah, to Jacob once again, saying, "Go unto her, that she may bear upon my knees, and I may also have children by her." Jacob, with a heart torn yet eager, accepted her plea, and Bilhah conceived and bore a son named Dan, crying, "God has vindicated me." The battle for motherhood consumed the hearts of Rachel and Leah, each vying for the affection of Jacob, and the fortress of their ambition grew ever higher. Leah, witnessing Rachel's newfound resolve, gave her maid Zilpah unto Jacob, who bore a son named Gad, declaring, "A troop comes." Yet the struggle did not cease. The days turned into months, and Leah, filled with fervor, bore another son named Asher, saying, "Happy am I, for the daughters shall call me blessed." The tent echoed with the sounds of their joy mingled with their jealousy, like a storm brewing unseen, but as the tension escalated, an unexpected moment occurred, an encounter with the Lord that would change everything. One night, during Jacob's vigil in the woods, while he prayed earnestly, the angel of the Lord appeared unto him, saying, "Fear not, Jacob, for I am with you. I shall make you a great nation and bless you, even as I have blessed your fathers." Jacob's heart swelled with renewed hope, but the burdens of his wives stole at his spirit. And yet, in the middle of his own doubts and struggles, a divine whisper began to stir within him, revealing a grander narrative at play, a promise intertwining through the very veins of his sons. The next morning, as he gathered his clan to prepare for their journey, Rachel felt a stirring deep within. Days passed, and when she began to feel life within her, she rejoiced, "God has surely taken away my reproach." The time arrived, and she bore a second son, naming him Benjamin, while the light of heaven shone down with purpose. However, as Rachel labored under the pain of childbirth, her spirit left her. With her final breath, she declared, "This is son of my sorrow." Yet Jacob, now holding his new son, realized in his heart that God's plan would not be thwarted by the struggle of human hearts. Rachel's legacy, though bittersweet, was now woven into the fabric of the promise. The yearning of their hearts bore witness to God's design and unfolding revelation that through their strife, a multitude would rise. But what lay ahead for Jacob, Rachel, Leah, and their sons was still shrouded in divine mystery, with the promise carrying forth into the generations awaiting those who would align themselves with God's covenant. For in the depths of their family strife was the seed of destiny, an unfolding lineage through which the nations of the earth would be blessed. And so, the story marched ever onward, leading them toward a fulfillment yet to be revealed, echoing the truth, "Can anything good come from strife?" The journey was far from complete, and God's mysterious purpose remained hidden, interwoven into the thread of their lives, waiting for the moment of revelation. And it came to pass after these things, Jacob gathered all his sons and led them away from the land of Laban, urging them forth toward the land of Canaan, where the presence of the Lord awaited them. His heart was heavy, not only from the loss of Rachel but also from the burden of returning to a land where his brother Esau resided, a brother whom he had deceived and from whom he had fled. As the family progressed on their journey, Jacob walked with a spirit resolute yet shaded in deep contemplation. The road was long, twisting through valleys and mountains, and more than once, he felt the gaze of heaven upon him, as though the very angels were watching his steps. Meanwhile, the hearts of Rachel's surviving children, Joseph and Benjamin, stirred with the uncertainty of their future. With Rachel gone, Leah was resolute to care for her sister's sons as her own. She whispered comfort to them during the night, "Fear not, for the Lord is with us, and our tribe shall grow mighty." Yet Esau's shadow loomed ever larger in Jacob's mind. He remembered well their last encounter, the bitterness, the anger. He feared that his return would rekindle old enmity. Thus, the Lord led him to send messengers ahead to Esau, hoping to soften the heart of his brother with gifts and kind words. The night fell heavy over the camp as Jacob withdrew to pray. Alone, with only the flicker of stars for company, he wrestled with God, pleading for favor and mercy. "O Lord, I am unworthy of your blessings," he cried. "I met my brother and I am afraid. Deliver me from his hand." It was in that dark hour, as he labored in prayer, that he felt another presence, a celestial being wrestling with him. Jacob, despite his weariness, fought with resolve. "I will not let you go until you bless me," he declared, grasping tighter with every ounce of strength. In that moment of struggle, the angel asked, "What is your name?" And Jacob replied, "Jacob." The angel responded, "Your name shall no longer be called Jacob, but Israel, for you have striven with God and with men, and have prevailed." A new dawn broke, illuminating Jacob's face. He emerged transformed, a man who had struggled and yet encountered God. He walked with a limp, a reminder of the night his life changed forever. And he called the place Peniel, for he had seen God face to face and yet lived. As Jacob approached the land of his father, a great fear shot through his heart, knowing that tonight he would meet Esau. He divided his family into groups, hoping that if one group were to fall before Esau's wrath, perhaps the others would escape. But as the sun rose, bringing with it God's grace, so too did Esau come running. Jacob bowed low 7 times before his brother, ready to receive judgment, yet encountered an embrace of forgiveness. Esau's heart softened, and he exclaimed, "I have enough, my brother. Let us be one family again." With tears in their eyes, they rekindled what was once shattered like broken clay. Through this encounter, Jacob understood that God weaves together the threads of conflict for his sovereign purpose, transforming hearts and establishing desire into divine reconciliation. The legacy of Rachel and Leah took root not just in Jacob's sons but in the family itself, destined to bear witness to future generations, and so, the journey continued, with new blessings day by day and a promise of the seed yet to bloom. For in every trial, God was revealing a plan beyond their understanding. What awaited them in the days ahead remained veiled in divine wisdom, forever echoing the question, what greater purpose unfolds when enemies become family in the embrace of God's redemptive love? And it came to pass that after the joyful reconciliation, Jacob and Esau lingered in the embrace of brotherhood, their hearts mended beneath the gaze of the Almighty. As they gathered their families, Esau spoke, saying, "Let us journey together to my home, we will feast and rejoice in our renewed bond." Yet Jacob, with the wisdom of a shepherd, replied, "My Lord knows my children are tender and my flocks are nursing. If it pleases you, let me find favor in your sight and go before you slowly. We shall meet in Seir, as the Lord leads us." And Esau, with a generous spirit, urged Jacob to accept gifts of livestock. "I have enough, brother. What is mine is yours in abundance," he proclaimed. Jacob, humbled by the grace shown to him, insisted, "Nay. If I have found favor in your sight, let this gift be a token of gratitude, for to see your face is as if I beheld the face of God." And so they parted, Esau returning to Seir, while Jacob continued his journey towards Succos. The children, bound by the kinship of their fathers, felt an unshakable bond take root within them, one that the eternal God had ordained. As Jacob settled in Succos, he built a house for himself and booths for his cattle. The air was fragrant with hope, yet in the depths of Jacob's heart resided an unease. As he gazed upon the land promised to his forefathers, he felt the weight of the legacy he bore. In the quiet hours of the night, the Lord spoke to Jacob in a dream. "Jacob, I am the God of Bethel, where you anointed a pillar and vowed a vow," said the voice of the Almighty. "Arise and go to the land of your fathers, for there I shall bless you and fulfill the promises made to your ancestors." Awakening from his slumber, Jacob feared and marveled at the vision, for he comprehended that the Spirit of God moved powerfully around them. He gathered his family and spoke, "Let us prepare to journey to Bethel. We shall build an altar there unto the Lord, for he has been with me in all my trials." With hearts united and a sense of divine direction, the family set forth. The aspirations and dreams of Rachel and Leah intertwined, weaving through the lives of their children like precious threads in a tapestry. Yet, amid the joy, Jacob remembered the struggle he endured, the wrestling with God that led to his own renewal. As they approached Bethel, he instructed his household, "Put away the strange gods that are among you, and be clean, and change your garments." For the Lord demanded purity before his presence, and Jacob understood the journey was not only to a place but toward holiness. As they arrived, Jacob built an altar, and there he called the place El Bethel, for it was there that God revealed himself anew. They worshipped with songs of praise, and the Lord reaffirmed his covenant with Jacob, saying, "Your name is Jacob, your name shall not be called any more Jacob, but Israel shall be your name." And Jacob marveled at the renewed promise, foreshadowing the great nations that would spring from his lineage. In that sacred moment, he felt the weight of the past transform into the hope of the future, as God continued to unveil his redemptive plan. But lo, amidst this blessing, a whisper reverberated within him, a divine mystery yet unsolved, echoing the question, what legacy shall arise from the union of Rachel and Leah, and how will their children shape the unfolding destiny of nations? And it came to pass that after the sacred hour of worship, Jacob gathered his household, and they sat in somber reflection, each soul pondering the weight of the covenant. Rachel, with her eyes gleaming like the dawn, drew near to her husband, "My lord, our days of pilgrimage have brought us to this holy ground, yet my heart is troubled, for I have borne no children." Jacob, feeling the ache of her sorrow, placed his hands upon her shoulders, am I in the place of God, who hath withheld from you the fruit of the womb? Pray, my beloved, let us not despair, for the Lord's hand is powerful, and his plans unfold in his perfect timing. Then Rachel spoke again, with fervor rising in her spirit, Give me children, or else I die. As she wrestled with her anguish, Jacob knew that her cry was the lamentation of countless women who longed for the joy of motherhood. So he assured her of his love, yet within him stirred a deeper revelation, as he recalled the promise spoken over him, that nations would arise from his loins. Leah, seeing the intensity of Rachel's plight, spoke softly into the tension of the moment, Behold, my handmaid Bilhah, take her, and she will bear upon my knees, and I may also have children by her. Rachel, driven by her desire, perceived this as a solution blessed by both sides of their family lineage. Bilhah, who was privy to these deliberations, was summoned by Rachel, who commanded her, Come, take my place and bear children for us. And it was so, for Bilhah conceived, and in due course, she bore a son, whom Rachel named Dan, saying, God hath judged me, and hath also heard my voice, and given me a son. When Bilhah conceived again, she brought forth another son, and Rachel proclaimed, With great wrestlings have I wrestled with my sister, and I have prevailed, and she named him Naphtali. But as time passed, Leah, observing the growing affection Rachel held for her handmaid's children, felt the stirrings of rivalry in her heart. She entreated God for her own blessing, and in a moment of divine grace, he opened her womb once more. Therefore, she bore Jacob another son, and called him Gad, declaring, A troop cometh. Then Leah had yet another son, whom she named Asher, proclaiming, Happy am I, for the daughters will call me blessed. The Lord continued to multiply their household, and every birth seemed to bear the fingerprints of divine orchestrating. Jacob, unbeknownst to the tumult between his wives, yet felt the hand of God upon them, weaving a lineage of hope and promise. With each birth, a tale was being etched into his heart, a legacy that would soon bear the weight of nations. But as the sons multiplied, a whisper surged through the air, directing Jacob's heart once more to Rachel. Rachel, my beloved, God shall not forget you, he promised, holding her hands, for a time is coming when your womb shall surely rejoice, and from you shall spring forth the one who shall carry the scepter. A silence settled among them, rich with potential and promise, for within the sacred mystery of motherhood lay the seeds of God's grander design. Yet a shadow loomed in the heavens, as a mystery tightened its grip. How shall the son of promise arise from the womb that has known barrenness? Lo, brothers are born, yet what of Rachel's heart cry? What has God designed in the tapestry of generations yet to come? And it came to pass, as the days of their sojourn continued, that Jacob, feeling the promise and weight of his lineage, sought the counsel of God in the stillness of the night. He knew not the storms gathering just beyond the horizon, yet his heart was attuned to the divine, for he had seen the faithfulness of the Almighty unfold in moments both quiet and powerful. One fateful night, as Jacob wrestled with his thoughts, he beheld the stars that adorned the heavens, each twinkling light a reminder of God's covenant with him. O Lord, he prayed earnestly, I am but a sojourner, and what am I to do without the fulfillment of your promises? Will Rachel's cry go unanswered? Even as his prayer ascended like incense, the morning sun broke forth, illuminating the camp with a golden hue. In that light, Jacob felt a surge of hope. The breath of the Almighty stirred upon the children of his beloved Rachel, who continued to wait in faith. Rachel, consumed by anguish yet buoyed by hope, walked among the tents that morning, her sorrow mingling with the sweetness of resolve. She approached Leah, her sister, the bearer of many sons. Is there mercy to be found for me, dear sister? I wish only to share this mantle of motherhood with you, and to feel the joy of our lineage flourishing together. Leah, her heart softened by Rachel's plea, took Rachel's hands within her own. If it be the Lord's will, let us pray for his favor. We must seek him with unity, for it is by his hand that all blessings come. Together they knelt, raising their eyes toward the heavens, beseeching the Lord for grace. Days turned into weeks, yet the cry of Rachel remained. The earth yielded her fruit, and the tents swelled with the laughter of boys, but the void in Rachel's heart only deepened. Yet in the silence, unbeknownst to them, God was orchestrating a redemptive drama, and behold, it came to pass that God remembered Rachel. He opened her womb, and she conceived. A miracle sprang forth, and in that tender moment, Rachel, awash in joy, whispered, "God hath taken away my reproach." She named the child Joseph, proclaiming, "The Lord shall add to me another son." Her heart sang praises as she held her firstborn, a testament of hope amidst her trials, yet Leah, witnessing this divine intervention, stirred within her own spirit, and knowing the bond of sisterhood was refortified by joy, she too sought the Lord. She prayed fervently, and once again, God breathed life into her womb. The joy of soon-to-be motherhood danced in her heart, and she bore another son, whom she named Issachar, declaring, "God hath given me my hire, because I have given my maiden to my husband." And so, in swift passage, Rachel and Leah became pillars of God's unfolding design, their destinies intertwined in the tapestry of family bitterness and reconciliation. With each birth, the promise of nations drew near. The heavens had heralded a miracle at the just moment when despair sought to claim Rachel's heart, yet a shadow loomed, and an echo of uncertainty whispered through the hearts of Jacob's wives. Could the dreams held so closely reveal yet deeper truths? As joy mingled with the lingering pressures of rivalry, the echo of God's sovereign plans resounded. Despite the struggles of the past, the greatest of purposes is yet faintly unseen. What future awaits the children of promise born from these mothers' hands, and how will the scepter rise from the depths of unlikeliness? And it came to pass that in the fullness of time, Rachel, now filled with sacred anticipation, felt the stirring of life anew within her. Her heart was a tumult of joy and trepidation as she sought the presence of God. She marveled at the thought of bearing not just one child, but two, and with fervent prayers, she sought assurance in the quiet of her tent. "O God of my fathers," she prayed, "will you not grant me abundant grace, and let this child be a blessing unto your people? May he carry forth the legacy of our lineage." In that moment of deep yearning, a radiance enveloped her. She felt the affirmation of the Almighty, as if the heavens themselves conspired to encourage her heart. The air crackled with divine expectancy, and the promise of new life loomed ever closer. Meanwhile, Leah, her heart touched by the wonder of God's unfolding plan, felt a sudden urgency to embrace her own relationship with God anew. A longing for deeper communion stirred within her, even as she cradled her son, Issachar, reflecting upon the peculiar intricacies of their lives intertwined. "Lord," Leah cried out, "have we not shared in the trials and joys as sisters? Grant me the wisdom to accept not just the blessings, but the burdens too. Let us find our identity rooted in you alone." And God, in his infinite mercy, inclined his ear, recognizing the sincerity of both women's hearts. As the sun dipped below the horizon, he spoke into the silence, not with a voice, but through the gentle nudging of their spirits. Within them, hope began to blossom anew. Word of Rachel's expectation spread through the camp, and Jacob felt the stirring of pride and concern in equal measure. Shall the Lord indeed bless us more? He mused silently, reflecting upon how rich the promise of his lineage had become. Yet, the specter of jealousy lingered, as the sons of Leah flourished under the watchful eyes of their mother, each son a reminder of what Rachel had longed for. Then came the day when the tents hummed with expectancy. Rachel was to bear another child. There was a tension in the air, thick with unspoken prayers and anxious hearts. As Leah prepared for the birth, she was suddenly filled with the elation of labor pains. The cries of labor filled the air, and the women gathered, lifting their voices in supplication to the God of their fathers. "Grant this child favor, O Lord. Let him be a vessel of your covenant." They cried, their voices blending in a chorus of unity for both mothers. In that providential moment, Rachel bore forth her second son, and tears of joy and finesse fell upon the earth. "God hath added to my shame," she proclaimed, "my son shall be called Benjamin," meaning, son of my right hand, a duality of pain and promise. But as the celebrations of new life erupted within the camp, disaster arose. Rachel, in her fervor, found herself stricken by anguish, for as she welcomed Benjamin, she succumbed to the weariness of death. The burden of joy transformed into a bittersweet farewell. The camp fell silent, shattered by an unspeakable grief. Jacob held Rachel's lifeless form, his heart torn asunder. In that moment of loss, a greater revelation loomed over the horizon. God's sovereign hand moved through life and death, hardship and joy, weaving a tapestry unseen, and as they laid Rachel to rest, a prophecy stirred, echoing through time, out of this morning shall arise a nation, the son born of pain shall carry the mantle of leadership, and from his lineage shall come forth the light of salvation. What mystery did God have yet to reveal? In the heart of sorrow, what new covenant would emerge? The journey ahead would unfold specters of divine orchestration and the promise of destinies intertwined, waiting with sacred breath. And it came to pass, after the mournful days had passed and the veil of grief still shrouded their hearts, that Jacob gathered his sons, the sons of Leah and the sons of Rachel, in a time of reflection and solemn remembrance. A cloud of sorrow lingered, but within that bleakness, God's purpose awaited its unfolding. "Come hither, my sons," Jacob called out, his voice heavy with the weight of loss yet resolute, "for we shall honor your mother Rachel and the legacy of her love." The sons assembled, their hearts stirred with conflicting emotions, the allure of their mother's grace intertwined with the mantle of sadness at her departure. As the evening sun cast long shadows across the camp, Jacob began to recount the stories of the covenant made with their forefathers, hearkening back to the promises given unto Abraham, Isaac, and now himself. "Behold," Jacob declared, "in our loss there is yet a profound truth. Rachel was chosen to bear not just a son but a divine promise, for out of Benjamin, our youngest, shall emerge a lineage of strength and destiny, leading us forth as a great nation." In the wake of his words, the spirit of prophecy descended upon him, and the very essence of God's presence filled the space. He raised his hands in supplication and prophesied over his sons, each word resonating with the power of divine promise. "Judah, you shall be praised, for your brothers shall bow down to you, the scepter shall not depart from you." And as he spoke, his heart ignited with a dual vision, glimpsing the unfolding plan of God, where his promise transcended time and seasoned the future with hope. Leah, witnessing her husband's fervor, felt a pulse of renewed strength within her. Her heart, though heavy with sorrow, embraced her role in the divine design. "My husband, let us teach our children the ways of the Lord. For in this shared tragedy, we shall find unity and purpose." Days turned into weeks, and as the seasons changed, so too did the spirits of the household of Jacob. Daily, they gathered to recount Rachel's strength and the blessing of her sons. Leah increasingly recognized the profoundness of their connection, the union of sacrificial love and divine fulfillment. One night, as Leah sat alone under the vastness of the stars, she found herself in prayer once more. "O Lord, you who know the depths of our hearts, reveal unto us how we might walk in your ways and honor the memory of Rachel. Augment our understanding, so that we may embrace the full measure of this covenant." And the Lord, who hears all prayers, answered her yearning. For in the silence of the night, his voice echoed in her spirit. "Fear not, Leah, for in your sons shall be the 12 tribes of Israel, and with each generation, my promise shall be magnified. From your lineage shall come forth a Redeemer, the Messiah, and through him, all nations shall be blessed." With newfound clarity and divinely bestowed purpose, Leah arose from her place of prayer, driven by the sovereignty of God's plan. She stepped into the light of dawn, her heart brimming with anticipation as she gathered her sons. "Come, my beloved children," Leah cried, her voice carrying the strength of her lineage. "We are a family forged by love, woven together through the sovereign hand of our God. From mourning, he will birth joy, and from sorrow, deliverance shall spring forth." So they began to walk together toward the land of promise, their lives interlaced by the unseen threads of God's revelation, each step a testament to the divine orchestration at work. And as they journeyed, the shadows of their pain transformed into the light of hope. Thus, a new chapter awaited to unfold from the very fabric of their existence, and amidst the promise of their lineage, the world trembled at the whisper of something great to come. For within the depths of their story lay a glorious truth: the time had come for God's promise to illuminate the path of redemption, and the first glimmer of a miraculous dawn approached. And it came to pass, after the weight of sorrow had settled over the tent where Rachel once dwelled, that Jacob, now a man transformed, sought out his sons. With strength born of struggle and faith renewed through loss, he called forth Reuben, Simeon, Levi, Judah, Dan, Naphtali, Gad, Asher, Issachar, Zebulun, Joseph, and Benjamin. Each name echoed with divine purpose, each son steeped in the promise of generations to come. "Come near, my sons, for the words of the Lord must be declared," Jacob declared, his voice firm yet tender. The hearts of his children gathered with anticipation, for they felt the weight of a legacy heavier than the tents that surrounded them. With solemnity, he began to prophesy, breathing forth the future that had been always etched in the heart of God. "Judah, you shall be a lion, and your hand shall be upon the neck of your enemies. To you shall the gathering of the peoples be," he spoke, and all trembled at the vibration of prophetic hope. Such visions of power and dominion lingered in the air, a foreshadowing of the leaders and kings yet to arise from their lineage. And as Jacob continued, each son was given a glimpse into their destiny. He spoke of the prosperity that awaited them, of the covenant promises that would transcend their understanding and span into lands far beyond their own. "Joseph, you shall become a fruitful bough by a well," Jacob declared, and visions of grain and abundance swirled like dust in the mid-morning sun. "Your brothers shall bow before you, for through trials will your faithfulness be tested, and from you shall come a deliverance that will be felt through the ages." The depth of this blessing reverberated through Jacob's family, reminding them that pain precedes purpose, that Rachel's sorrow yielded not just Benjamin, but the very essence of life and hope. In that sacred moment, Leah, their mother, felt her spirit leap with joy. With each pronouncement, she found strength and clarity, her heart warmed with the love and acceptance filling the space once ruled by division and rivalry. She rose and added her voice, "May we flourish and multiply, as the Lord decreed to our forefather Abraham. Our lineage shall be the pillars upon which nations are built." Their united voices became a symphony of faith, filling the air with intentions toward mercy. The burdens that had stained their family with envy and strife were washed away by the cascading waters of forgiveness and grace. As the sun dipped low on the horizon, casting a golden hue across the camp, Jacob gathered all his sons around him. "Let us honor the legacy of your mother Rachel," he said, tears glistening in his eyes. "For from her womb sprung forth not only sons but the promise of a Savior who would carry the weight of salvation to the world." With those words, the earth beneath them seemed to shudder with acknowledgement of divine purpose. They built an altar, and upon it, they placed an offering, a tribute to the graceful weaving of God's plan even in the shadows of life and death. "Come, let us rejoice in the goodness of the Lord, for he has turned our mourning into joy," Leah proclaimed, her heart full of vigor. "He has made us a family united, a people chosen for his glory." And so, amid joyful cries and the laughter of children, they worshipped together on that sacred ground. The air was thick with faith and promise, a tangible sense of the heavens drawing near. They recognized that each trial, each heartache, and every loss had prepared them for this very moment where divisions were reconciled, and dreams ignited for generations, and as they gazed into the starry sky, a new understanding enveloped them. The stories of Leah and Rachel were not merely tales of jealousy but testaments of God's unwavering faithfulness. From their complex relationship arose a lineage destined to bless the earth, solidifying the eternal truth that God writes his promises in mysterious ways. That I and the echo of that holy assembly, their lingering grief transformed into an anthem of hope. For they were not merely a family bound by blood but a chosen people ready to fulfill God's divine mission. The foundation of the 12 tribes of Israel was laid, and from the painful threads of their past wove a tapestry of redemption that would blanket the world in light. Thus, with hearts quickened, they ventured forward into the horizon of history, knowing that their journey would lead the faithful to seek the promises spoken so long ago, embossed upon the heart of God. As they walked together, a great cloud of witnesses joined their march through time, the unseen, the faithful, those who would come to know the God behind the promises through the lineage that sprang forth from Rachel and Leah. The dance of redemption had begun, the promise fulfilled before them was not just a dream but an assurance. The promise of salvation was drawing near, and the dawn of a new covenant was at hand. Beloved viewers, the legacy of Rachel and Leah beckons to us all. The promise of redemption is alive today, reminding us of God's unwavering faithfulness. Do not miss this moment to reflect on how this story impacts your faith journey. Now is the time to subscribe to our channel. Stay connected to God's Word and never miss a powerful testimony again. Leave a like. Let us spread this biblical truth through the algorithm, reaching hearts yearning for hope. Share your reflections in the comments. how has this journey influenced your walk with God? Don't wait even one more second to share this powerful message with at least 5 friends who need to hear God's promises today. Together, let us illuminate the world with His everlasting love.